Okay, are we going?
1 second. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, you're doing well. May your fast and prayers be accepted. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's program. To start off soon, just want to recap what tonight's schedule will consist of. It will be of Dua Iftitah, followed by Munajat Imam Ali, recited by our beloved brother Ibrahim. Then we'll transition to Mashhad, in which we'll have Quran recitation, a speech by Shaikh Ehsan Ahmadi, followed by Q&A. This is tonight's special. And then we'll end off with Ziyarat Amiullah and some nohas for the occasion of the Shahadat. Without further ado, inshallah, we'll begin with the Dua Iftitah.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو حي القيوم هو الرحمن الرحيم بديع السماوات والأرض من جميع ظلمي وجرمي وإسرافي على نفسي وأتوب إليه. اللهم إني افتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت المسدد للثواب بمنك. وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي وأغل يا غفور وطرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها وهموم قد كشفتها وأثرة قد أقلتها ورحمة قد نشرتها وحلقة بلاغ قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق عمره حمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده الباسط بالجود يده الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير ما حاجة به بي إليه عظيمة وغناك عنه قديم. وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إنا عفك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيح عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي. عندما كان من خطأ وعمدي أطعمني في إن عسلك ما لا أستجوبه منك. الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وعريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه لك فنبت عني عتبت بجهلي عليك ولعل الذي عبت عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما اصبر على عبد اللعيم منك علي يا رب إنك تدعوني فوالله فعبليك وتتحبب إلي فأتبقز إليك وتتبد إلي فلا أقبل منك كأن تتول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من رحمة لي والإحسان علي وتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجود عليه بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه والحمد لله على عفوه بعد عفوه بعد قدرته والحمد لله على طول آناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق خالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والعنان الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله ولا شبيه يشاكله ولا ظهير يعاضده قهر بعزته العزة وتواضع لعظمته العظمى فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورته وأنا أسيح ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطاني وعزيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونقة قد أراني فأثني عليه حامدا واذكره مسبحا الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب عامله الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويزو المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وأمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكي وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبع العظيم. وصل على صديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبت الرحمة وصل على سبت الرحمة وإمام الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي حجتك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المعمل والعدل المنتظر وغفتك بملائكة المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعية إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك. استخلفه في العرش كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. مكن له دينه الذي ارتزيته له. أبدله من بعد خوفه غمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم اظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخير. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الداعي إلى طاعتك والغادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا وما غصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا واشعب به صدعنا وارتق به فتقنا وكثر به غلتنا وعزز به ذلتنا واغن به عائلنا واغز به عن مغرمنا واجبر به فقرنا وسد به خلتنا ويسر به عسرنا وبيز به وجوهنا وفك به أسرنا وانجه به طلبتنا وانجز به مواعيدنا واستجب به دعوتنا وآتنا به سؤلنا وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا وآتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع الموتين فاشف به صدورنا واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق الآمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله وغيبة ولينا وكثرة عدونا وقلة عددنا وشدة الفتن بنا وتظاهر الزمان علينا وصلى على محمد وآله وإنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله وبزر تكشفه ونصر تعزه وسلطان حق تظهره ورحمة منك تجللناها بعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات.
Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah we'll be transitioning to Munajat Imam Mahdi. We would like to thank Brother Ibrahim for reciting such a beautiful dua. So stay tuned for the next section. There has been some slight delays from Mashhad side, so the munajat, they will be ready.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك الأمان يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم وأسألك الأمان يوم يعض الظالم على يدي يقول يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا وأسألك الأمان يوم يعرف المجرمون بسيماهم فيؤخذ بالنواصي والأقدام وأسألك الأمان يوم لا يجزي والد عن ولده ولا مولود هو جاز عن والده شيئا إن وعد الله حق وأسألك الأمان يوم لا ينفع الظالمين معذرتهم ولهم اللعنة ولهم سوء الدار وأسألك الأمان يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ الله وأسألك الأمان يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه وأسألك الأمان يوم يود المجرم لو يفتدي من عذاب يومئذ ببنيه وصاحبته وأخيه وفصيلته التي تؤويه ومن في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجي كلا إنها لظى نزاعة للشوى مولاي يا مولاي أنت المولى وأنا العبد وهل يرحم العبد إلا المولى مولاي يا مولاي أنت المالك وأنا المملوك وهل يرحم المملوك إلا المالك مولاي يا مولاي أنت العزيز وأنا الذليل وهل يرحم الذليل إلا العزيز مولاي يا مولاي أنت الخالق وأنا المخلوق وهل يرحم المخلوق إلا الخالق مولاي يا مولاي أنت العظيم وأنا الفقير وهل يرحم الحقير إلا العظيم مولاي يا مولاي أنت القوي وأنا الضعيف وهل يرحم الضعيف إلا القوي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الغني وأنا الفقير وهل يرحم الفقير إلا الغني مولاي يا مولاي أنت المعطي وأنا السائل وهل يرحم السائل إلا المعطي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الحي وأنا الميت وهل يرحم الميت إلا الحي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الباقي وأنا الفاني وهل يرحم الفاني إلا الباقي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الدائم وأنا الزائل وهل يرحم الزائل إلا الدائم مولاي يا مولاي أنت الرازق وأنا المرزوق وهل يرحم المرزوق إلا الرازق مولاي يا مولاي أنت الجواد وأنا البخيل وهل يرحم البخيل إلا الجواد مولاي يا مولاي أنت المعافي وأنا المبتلى وهل يرحم المبتلى إلا المعافي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الكبير وأنا الصغير وهل يرحم الصغير إلا الكبير مولاي يا مولاي أنت الهادي وأنا الضال وهل يرحم الضال إلا الهادي مولاي يا مولاي أنت الرحمن وأنا المرحوم وهل يرحم المرحوم إلا الرحمن مولاي يا مولاي أنت السلطان وأنا الممتحن وهل يرحم الممتحن إلا السلطان مولاي يا مولاي أنت الدليل وأنا المتخير وهل يرحم المتحير إلا الدليل مولاي يا مولاي أنت الغفور وأنا المذنب وهل يرحم المذنب إلا الغفور مولاي يا مولاي أنت الغالب وأنا المغلوب وهل يرحم المغلوب إلا الغالب مولاي يا مولاي أنت الرب وأنا المربوب وهل يرحم المربوب إلا الرب مولاي يا مولاي أنت المتكبر وأنا الخاشع وهل يرحم الخاشع إلا المتكبر مولاي يا مولاي ارحمني برحمتك وارضى عني بجودك وكرمك وفضلك يا ذا الجود والإحسان والتول والامتنان برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Thank you so much, Brother Hassam, for the beautiful recitation. One thing that we wanted to remind you of is that if you would like to get notifications of these live streamings, then please subscribe to the YouTube channel of Al-Mahdi, and that way you can get a push notification when the next YouTube channel live stream will be. For those who are not as tech savvy like myself, all you have to do is on the channel, there's a subscription button. And once you click that, there's a bell icon that comes up, and when you can select all for that. And the other thing we wanted to mention is that, alhamdulillah, the brothers that are helping us from Mashhad, they have a very beautiful and beneficial YouTube channel as well. If you search it, it's called the Imam Reza Shrine YouTube channel, and it's all in English. And they have been providing many mini courses, specifically for Quran Tajweed, Quran Tafsir, and even the Islamic family lifestyle. So please take advantage of the resources. It's very nice and elegant Dawn job, and it's short and to the point. So please take advantage of it. One thing, last announcement for tonight is that tonight's special feature of this program is a Q&A session. So as those who have seen on the email sent out through Slido, you can post your pictures, and sorry, through Slidos you can post your questions, and if you have access to YouTube, you can post it in the chat. Inshallah, we'll provide the link to the Slido through the YouTube chat as well, so you can ask your question. Without further ado, inshallah, we'll be transitioning to the program in Mashhad with our help of our brother Adi Zarif of reciting Quran with Surah Baqarah verses 91 to 93.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا بما أنزل الله قالوا نؤمن بما أنزل علينا قالوا نؤمن بما أنزل علينا ويكفرون بما وراءه وهو الحق مصدقا لما معهم قل فلم تقتلون أنبياء الله من قبل إن كنتم مؤمنين ولقد جاءكم موسى بالبينات ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا فوقكم الطور خذوا ما آتيناكم بقوة واسمعوا قالوا سمعنا وعصينا قالوا سمعنا وعصينا وأشربوا في قلوبهم العجل بكفرهم قل بئس ما يأمركم به إيمانكم إن كنتم مؤمنين صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Awesome, beautiful recitation. Thank you so much, Brothers Arif. Inshallah, we'll continue with the speech by our beloved Shaikh Ehsan Ahmadi. And note, you can ask your questions, post them on Slido or the YouTube chat. So without further ado, inshallah, we'll begin the program with Shaikh Ehsan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وأما بعد فقال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا ومنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير. Then we caused to inherit the book those who have chosen of our servants, and among them is he who wrongs himself, and among them is he who is moderate, and among them is he who is foremost in good deeds by permission of Allah. That inheritance is what is the great bounty. Dear brothers and sisters, Jami'an Salamun Alaikum. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude for such an opportunity to be among every single one on such a special and from such a blessed place, Martyrdom, leading to the Layali of Fad. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this tawfiq and this blessing, and we thank the Ahlul Bayt, especially the Imam of Time, for all of these bounties that he has given us and provided us. And we would like to ask and pray to Allah to continue his blessings and extend our blessings for the upcoming 10 days of the month of Ramadan as well. So can we benefit the utmost possible perfections from this holy month of Ramadan. Yesterday, regarding how important within Islam, they treated the holy month of Ramadan, especially the nights of destiny. So a couple of points were raised during last day's discussions. Now, for today, I would like to take this one step further. When we look at the tradition, when we look at the lifestyle of that debate, right? We see that they, from this topic of the month of Ramadan, especially the nights of destiny. And so we wanted to see how can we, as the followers of the school of the Ahlul Bayt, we can follow their path and try to benefit, the most that we can gain during this holy month, and especially during the nights of destiny, leading to the last 10 days of the month. I talked about staying awake, right, doing the ihya, and how look, they had a great amount of importance for this matter of keeping awake the night of the 23rd, 21st, and the 19th, right? So now we being between the two layali of Badr, being between the 19th night and 21st night, where does that lead us to? Would we say that, okay, now we're in a safe zone, that, we sort of have this break between, two great nights. So we sort of can take this day off and say, okay, now I can take a day off, recap, and then make sure that, I have not missed anything, get ready for the next day, right? So this is one approach. It's not completely bad. It's not completely wrong. It's actually pretty good, right? But what about in terms of, when we look at the tradition or the lifestyle of the ulama? How would they treat, these last 10 days and this, especially during the Layali of Badr? When you look closer to their way of life, especially their lifestyle, we see that not only they, try their best during the nights of Badr, right? But even between the nights of Badr, they continued the very same rhythm that they had, right, during the nights of Badr. Meaning that as if they enter this stage of self-control and self-monitoring, right? For all these 6 days, some even all 10 days, right? Just to make sure they gain that benefit that is provisioned for them during these holy days of the month. And that's perhaps what we see in the Ravaya, in which we read that the Holy Prophet of Islam used to put aside his bed and blanket and pillow and stuff aside during the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, meaning that he would enter this new stage, which was different from the past, right? And he continued that stage for the last 10 days of Ramadan, or the month of Ramadan, right? So now we have to, again, try to learn from this one. If you start, these nights of destiny with full power, if you start this night of destiny with true sincerity, if you start this night of destiny with true, spirituality sense, right? Seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's contentment, seeking prosperity of the hereafter, we should continue this mood and this level of energy and let's perhaps say objective, right? Throughout all of the 6, 9, or 10 days that are remaining in the month, right? So in a sense, we want to make sure that this becomes part of our identity. You don't want it to be just a temporary thing, right? Let me make it more clear. We don't want to make this just an act for a specific one night. You don't want to say, oh, it's only one night deal, right? I'm trying to do good in one night because of all the importance that this night has, right? And then later on, I'm just going to go back to my previous lifestyle, right? Although when we look at it technically, we say if a person, if a servant, anybody, he or she, doesn't matter, if he or she is true about his intention or her intention during these nights of destiny, right? That mood, that intention, that mentality, that perspective, right, is going to continue with him or her throughout the remaining of the year. Not remaining of the month, but remaining of the year, right? So that's how important it is, to the point that even the scholars, some of them have said that whatever stage you are in at the night of destiny, make sure you carry it through at the day after the night as well. Don't lose it. Keep it, maintain it. Try to even add more to it, right? But adding more to it doesn't mean necessarily that to continue your hard work, because of course everybody stays awake, during the night. They stay awake doing all these ahmas and du'as and ziyarat and a lot of prayers, right? So does it mean that we have to do the very same thing and during the day after the night of destiny as well? They say no. They say the most important factor is what Rasulullah mentioned in the last sermon of Sha'baniyah. Try to make sure that you have that self-monitoring system active during the day after the night of destiny. Meaning you try to keep within and whatever you have gained during the night, right? And try to keep as much as possible throughout the day as well. Don't just let it out easily. Don't give it way to Shaitan and his evils, right? Or his powers and armies, right? That easy. Whatever you have gained, maintain it throughout the days of the upcoming days of the month of Ramadan, right? So if this is the case, right? What are the specific acts that we can perform, especially to benefit, again, the most that we are provisioned to do, or the most that we are actually blessed to benefit during the nights of this? We talked briefly of how important was this matter of gathering and offering, for example, the Jama'ah Salat, right? Or the prayer in groups, right? Now, of course, we have this challenge, especially this year, that you can say pretty much every Muslim and Muslim is facing around the world, right? That, we are all facing with this epidemic, spread of a virus named coronavirus. So in a sense, right, you can see that a lot of normal religious activities that we had so far, right, has come to a stop in a way that it has changed its norm and its rhythm, right? And it has made us to make a lot of changes in how we actually continue or practice our religion, right? So at the same time, I know it has been a lot of impacts and to a lot of extent negative impacts of this virus. But at the same time, you have to take a look at this virus from a different perspective as well. So now we know that, by the spread of the coronavirus, right? Every believer or non-believers, right? They are pretty much confined within their home or maximum their workplace. If you want to very push it for or extend it even more to the let's say the place in which they do grocery shoppings or go for necessary things of their life. So what does that tell us? That tells us that this has brought an extra set of limitation for every single person, right? So this limitation, which mostly talks about the physical limitation, right? At the same time that limits a person, right? From another aspect, it provides more of a freedom in the second aspect. What is that freedom which I'm talking about? The more the person has time, especially a personal time, right? The more they start thinking and wondering about various items, right? Let's say, if you have the normal life, what do we usually think about from the every early morning? We start having our daily schedule, and the minute we step foot outside our door, right, we start thinking about all the different tasks that we have to do during that day to make sure that we reach, for example, our appointments, make sure we have reached whatever goals and objectives that we have for that day, and make sure that we do a great job, especially in terms of the social matter, right? Now, with this, virus with this coronavirus spreading, we know that a lot of activities has been limited, and a lot of us have started to work from home, right, using the internet, using the social media, right? So at the same time, when we go to the virtual space, when we go to the social networks as we talk, right, a lot of stuff changes in a sense, right? A lot of stuff becomes easier, right? At the same time, it becomes, or actually brings about more challenges as well, right? So with a click of a button, right, with a click on a screen, with just random surfing, right, you have access to a variety and so many things at the same time, right? So it is good and it is a warning, call at the same time. So as a Muslim, how should we behave, especially during the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, to make sure, again, we will not miss this blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the night of this. Remember, I mentioned the afdalul a'mal in the month of Ramadan, the highest, the best of the deeds of the month of Ramadan, according to the Holy Prophet, was al-wara'. And I described the definition of wara', and saying that wara' is the second level of taqwa. Now, taqwa itself is a very interesting term because not only it has mentioned in the Quran, but it has mentioned over and over and over and over again in pretty much, you can say, most of the ahadith that we have, right? One of the great scholars, he was saying, if you summarize the entire Nahjul Balagh, right, which are all sayings of, Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, if you want to summarize it, you can pretty much summarize it in three major topics. Number one being Tawheed or monotheism. Number two being the topic of resurrection or the remembrance of death. And number three, the topic of taqwa and piety, right? In the Quran as well, and again in the hadith of the Holy Prophet and other fellow Imams, when we look, we see the topic of taqwa keeps on popping up every year, right? So what is this taqwa? Let me just make it in a very simple term for today's session, right? Taqwa is not something that you can achieve and say, okay, I have the taqwa, so I'm going to move on from it, right? Taqwa is what we call it is a gradual concept, right? Meaning that it comes in percentage. The more you strive for it, the more you struggle for it, the more you try to attain it, right, the more of the taqwa you will attain. And of course, if I reach, let's say, for example, 10%, 20%, 30% of taqwa, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to stay there and remain there forever. No, I have to maintain it and I have to work on it in order to improve it, right? So it becomes a gradual concept. But what's the meaning of taqwa? When we look at the definition of taqwa, taqwa comes from this sense of stopping something, right? Like a brake, right? So for example, when you're driving, all of a sudden you hit the brakes, right? That stage of braking or stopping the car from movement, that is what we call taqwa. But in terms of the body and the soul, and of course, within the boundary of religion. So what can we use as a definition of taqwa? We say taqwa is a stage of emotion, better to say stage of awareness. But this awareness is not only about information, because there's this dispute, like whether me having information, enough information, is going to be sufficient to prevent me from, or actually motivate me to do a specific act. This is one of the longest discussions that's been happening within, not only the religious experts, but non-religious experts as well, philosophers, free thinkers around the world, those who have an opinion to express, right? So just having information, right, is that enough and sufficient to make a person or motivate or prevent a person from doing a specific act, right? I'm not going to get into that for today's, sake of the discussion, but taqwa, how we define it, is that a stage of awareness. But this awareness is different than just knowing about something, right? This awareness is something that actually it makes changes to one's behavior. So we say taqwa is a stage of awareness that is going to make the person walk the path, right, of the divine orders. Or let's say it's the stage of awareness for the person that is going to manage him or her in a path that he or she would not go outside of the boundaries of this divine path, which we call it Siratul Mustaqim, right? So this is a very layman term definition of taqwa, meaning that it acts as this faculty that in which it has a preventive function, right? So the second I get closer to one of the boundaries, right, within the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it automatically pulls me back and it keeps me within those boundaries, right? So this is the definition of taqwa. What is wara? Wara is one step higher than this taqwa. How does it work? So in taqwa, we talk about boundaries, we talk about forbidden acts, or we talk about obligatory acts, right? When we talk about wara, is when the person has worked on himself or herself, right? One step more, to the point that even on the recommended actions, right, he or she is maintaining herself or himself. So the boundary in a way becomes a little bit narrow, right? But at the same time, when you look at it, it's also when you look at how great of an impact it has, right, it increases by so much amount, right? So instead of focusing on the wajibat, right, we focus on mustahabbat. Instead of focusing on obligatory acts, we focus on the recommended acts, because we know we cannot do the recommended acts unless if you have done the wajibat, right? This is a very important key, because sometimes we forget about the wajibat and we go and talk about mustahabbat. You all know the example. A very clear example of that one is when during the month of Muharram, right? Everybody gets together, mashallah, like the matam of Abdullah was saying, the majalis, the nawaz, all the stuff, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen, who can ask for more, right? At the same time, you see the very same people, they cannot get up in the morning to offer their morning prayer, right? Here, when we see that this definition of wara is gone missing, we've taken the recommended act, the highly recommended act, right? But then we forgot about the obligatory acts, such as salah. So true definition of wara is when you take the true taqwa and you extend it in a way that you have more observation of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to do or prevented us from doing, right? So let's get back to our topic. We said we want to benefit the utmost possible from the remaining days of the month of Ramadan, especially the nights of destiny. So we know that, during this night, we do the specific outcomes. You also mentioned the second question, that what should we do during the days after the nights of destiny in order to maintain that state, that mood, that spiritual atmosphere, right? At least within ourselves. We talked about the topic of wara, right? And we also talked about how coronavirus has impacted at least our personal life to the level that we have to stay more at home instead of going outside, right? So let's put all of this together. If I want to practice my religion in the best way possible that I can, at least, right? How can I manage all of these challenges that I see in front of me? I know I have to have wara, or at least try to gain some of it, right? I know that I'm pretty much limited to my home and the boundaries of my personal life, right? And also I know that I have 2 upcoming major religious timing within my religion, 2 more nights of this. So how can I reconcile all these 3 together, right? What's the answer? The answer is this, simple. Remember, one of the great topics which I said you can summarize the Nahjul Balagha in was the topic of resurrection and remembrance of death, right? What is this remembrance of death? Is the answer to these challenges that we have today, right? So basically, when we say the reason that the Ahlul Bayt, right, constantly focused and emphasized, trying to spread the word, informing and making us aware of the matter of hereafter, especially life after death, it's for this very same reason. In order to change the way that we look around us, change our perspective, right? Change it from outside to inside. Change it from exoteric to esoteric, right? Change it from constantly looking and wanting and striving to gain more and more in terms of what we find outside of us, right? And change that perspective towards the inner aspect, right? So when something such as coronavirus starts spreading around, people start staying at home, right? A lot of normal activities come to stop, right? So at the same time, what should we do if you're a smart Muslim in order to gain benefits from all of this extra time that we have at home, right? So one of the very first things that we can do to help us benefit from the month of Ramadan, benefit from the nights of destiny, try to walk the path of taqwa and inshallah reach the level of wara, right? Is to what? Is to focus and focus and focus on ourselves and make sure that everything that we do on a 24 hours basis, it is on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's not, something impossible. It's actually very easy. When we look at the style of especially the akhlaqi ulama, right? They say all it takes is about 1 hour, maybe even less, half an hour per day, to actually have this sort of review of whatever we have done throughout the day, right? Now, this is, when you say for a normal time. When you're constantly at home, it becomes much easier, but it becomes more detailed, right? Because when you're at home, there are so many, there's only so much activities that you can do. But at the same time, your interaction with a lot of family members becomes more, right? And of course, through these interactions, will be a lot of opportunities, at the same time, a lot of challenges. So we have to be very exact on those interactions, making sure that the words that we use, the behavior that we have, the tone that we have, the mood that we're in, right? All of it falls within this path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will help us, again, to enter the night of destiny with complete preparation, meaning that we go and we enter the night of destiny, at least in an aspect that we are ready for it, right? So remember, I think I mentioned this yesterday, that we all know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, it's all merciful, meaning that His mercy is constantly bestowing upon His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like, for example, me and you, that we have to focus on something in order to make it done, right? If you want to be good, we have to focus on being good. Then we start acting good, right? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a creature, He's a creator, right? Meaning that He's constantly providing His mercy. His mercy is constantly being provided to entire of His creation. So what's the difference? We as a human because of the free will that we have to make sure that we prepare ourselves in order to receive the maximum amount of that mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to the level of our tolerance, right? So that's the very first step, and that's why we have the topic of taqwa and wara, right? Talking about the self-cleansing, purification of the soul, so talking about tazkiyah, right? So as long as we have this one, we know that we are ready. Our heart is ready. Our heart is open to receive the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially on the nights of this thing. I think I spoke too much already. I don't want to make this discussion, a lengthy discussion. So as right now, I would like to wrap up our discussions and leave it at this point, and leave the room open to see if there are any questions. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. Thank you so much. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great, excellent. Thank you so much for the speech and your time and everyone that's helping with the programs. So the first question that we have is the following. It says, what shall one recite to attain tranquility and peace when doubt surrounds you day and night? So in short, like if you're a doubtful person, what's something that's good to recite to obtain tranquility and peace?
Okay. You have my voice, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay. So that's a very good question, because that's not something that only this person, whoever has asked the question, is facing, but that's one of the challenges that we see among a lot of, brothers and sisters, right? This matter of constant doubts, constant thoughts, different and random thoughts, right? Sometimes even images, right? What should we do in order to find that sort of a peace of mind, that tranquility, as you mentioned, right? Is there any specific act that, we can continue? There are various answers for this one, right? The easiest one is using the part of the holy verse saying, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Meaning that you say, like, it is sufficient for me that, I am connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we know, no matter what kind of a thoughts, doubts, fear, anxiety, stress, whatever you want to put in this category of mental thoughts, right? Whatever approaches us, right? It is all below or at the level of creation. When you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you start saying Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, right? Then little by little you put in your heart in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's nothing higher than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more you put your trust in Him, the more you find that inner peace within your heart. Right? The second resolution for this one is, again, to work on our perspective. But that has to be specific. Let's say, for example, if I have a problem with specific doubts in religious beliefs, right? Or if I have doubts about a specific topic, right? Or if I have doubts about my future. These are all different. You have to go about them in different ways. So it becomes specific, like resolution. I have to know, for example, let's say, what are the doubts of the person, like if you categorize it, right? Out of the, let's say the 100 doubts that he had, or he or she has, right? Like to what extent of those is referring to his career? To what extent is referring to his family? To what extent it refers to his, overall beliefs, right? Then we can go about talking about working on that perspective in order to resolve the issue.
Thank you, Sheikh. So the next question is the following. It reads, we all believe that the life after this worldly death is the eternal life. Then why do we make du'as and are sad when someone dies?
Okay. So that's a very good question. Let me answer that one with a tradition of the Holy Prophet of Islam. As you all know, he had a son named Abdullah, right? And he passed away at very early ages. So during the time of his funeral, the ashab, the companions, right? They saw the Holy Prophet of Islam crying. And so in a way, mourning for the death of his beloved son. So they asked him the very same question. They asked him, oh, Prophet of Islam, oh, Prophet of Allah, don't you talk about the Ma'ad, the resurrection, the hereafter, the eternal life? So how come we find you in a stage of mourning and crying for your, child? What did the Holy Prophet of Islam say? He said, yes, I'm not neglecting any of the stuff that I'm saying. No, but this is the emotion of humanity to express the affection. When we lose a loved one, right, that's natural for us to start crying, become sad, to mourn for that person. It's not that, we're mourning for the hereafter. No, we're mourning for this dunya. We're mourning because we have lost, a loved one. He or she is no longer among us. We cannot see him. We cannot see her physically, right? We cannot talk to them, right? At least physically. But in terms of the hereafter, yes, that's what the true believers, they actually seek, and they see that, from now on, he or she, if he or she was a true believer, right, is in good hands. And that's what we see, for example, at the time of martyrdom of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba and Abu Abdullah Hussein, right? You probably all have read this in the Maqatib. On the very last minutes of the blissful life of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, Abu Abdullah Hussein goes to visit him. That's when the poison has reached all over, the liver of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, and there's absolutely no hope of him coming back to the normal life. So Abu Abdullah Hussein is crying, he's mourning for his brother, right? So much, but Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, what does he tell him? Don't be crying for me, rather be happy for me. Because I see, for example, my father. I see my uncle. I see my grandfather. I see my mother. They're all awaiting for me, and I will be joining them soon, right? So, in a sense, you have to look at it in two different aspects. The material aspects, or from this worldly aspect, we have to do this stuff, right? Because it's part of our nature. We need it, right? But in terms of the hereafter, right? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that person is a true believer, he's definitely in good hands, right? But if not, that's again a different topic. We don't want to be the judge of that topic.
Thank you, Shaykh. Next question is the following. It says, bad night, a day early or later. But
your voice is breaking up. You can repeat that again? Your voice was breaking off. If you could repeat the question one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay, sorry. So the question is, depending on the marja, your night of qadr so you may miss it.
Once again, I just got the first part of the question according to the lecture, and then your voice, went off again.
Okay, I think Brother Hussein is having an issue. So depending on your marja, your Qadr nights might be a day early or later, but per Surah Qadr, there's only one night of Qadr. So is it possible you'll miss it if you got the wrong night?
Okay. Brother Zuhair, I think you're breaking off too. I think perhaps the internet connection is pretty, it's not unstable. I sort of kind of guess or assume the question from what I could get from the pieces of the voice. So if I'm not mistaken, the question is this, that, it is possible that the night of Qadr may be different according to, so one may have tonight as the night of destiny. Another person may have the next night as a night of destiny, right? So was this the question that I was getting? Okay.
Yes, that's the question.
So technically, when we talk about what happened? Yes. So this is the question, right? So technically, when we talk about the night of destiny, right? This night of destiny, is it only a specific hours, right? Let's say, for example, we say from 12 midnight to right before the morning prayer, right? Or no, is it from the Maghrib time all the way through the morning prayer, right? Or no, is it only specific hours within this time, right? We look at the tradition, look at the narrations. What do we see? We see that the Ahlul Bayt themselves, right? They did not focus on specific hours. Rather, they focused on staying awake during the entire night, and again, continuing the same stage throughout the day. sort of emphasizing on this matter that the night of destiny is not specific to limited amount of hours, right? In our terms, so we can say, okay, I'm going to make a schedule for this specific hours. Rather, it's a concept in which it will help us, motivate us, right, to do a lot of different acts of supplication and worshiping in Ramadan, right, during the night of Qadr. Now, is this night of Qadr different from, like, you know, for example, if my marja is this day and the other marja is that day? We say we have this duty to go upon whatever news or whatever fatwa we get from our marja. So let's say in a household, if you have two brothers, one has marja A, the other one has marja B, and they have different days, different nights for the Laylatul Qadr, right? Person A has to go according to his fatwa, person B has to go according to his fatwa, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the rewards for both of them, right? Because, you know, he's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did that make sense?
Yes, it did. Thank you, Sheikh. So next question is regarding Sadaqah Jariyah and Quran recitation. How does it help the dead's darajat? If a dead person has sinned a lot, would they be forgiven? And how does this even work?
Okay. In terms of how it works, you know, that's a very tough question because we actually have to go and see how everything works after this in the world. And, you know, we all go one day, but to what it seems, not now. But let me just give you one example in terms of how would the recitation of the Quran help the person who's passed, even though if he or she is cruel already. I'm not sure if I made this or if I actually said this narration in this sessions or not, but it's an interesting, narration in which the Holy Prophet of Islam, along the companions, right, they go for ziyarat of Ahl al-Qubur, right? They go to the cemetery to offer the ziyarat of Ahl al-Qubur, right? Once they enter the cemetery, right, as they're passing by this specific grave, the Holy Prophet of Islam tells the companions to haste, to rush. Let's pass this grave quickly. Don't wait here, right? Companions listen, and they just pass the grave very quickly. They go, they do their business, they go to the cemetery, they do the ziyarah of Ahl al-Qubur. On the way of coming back, they pass by the very same grave one more time, right? But this time, Holy Prophet of Islam tells them to wait. Take a moment. Just stay here for a couple minutes, right? So it raises up the question: how come on the way of going, you told us, right, to haste, to rush, that don't wait here, right? But on the way of coming back, you're telling us to wait here. What's the story, right? So the Holy Prophet of Islam tells them that the person who's who's lying on this grave or this grave, right? He was actually a sinful person. Sinful person is what we call zalim as well, right? Zalim al-nafs, the person who has oppressed himself. So this person who's lying in this grave was a sinful person, right? So when we were going to the cemetery, right, when we entering the cemetery, I told you guys to rush because I was seeing the angels of punishment punishing the soul of this person, right? And I could not bear and tolerate to see a punishment of a believer, right? But as we were coming back, there was a change in this equation. What was that change? He had a son. His son had reached the age in which he could go to school, and he happened to go to school, and they had taught him the phrase of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And he was able to repeat the phrase, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. By him saying this phrase, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered his angel to stop punishing the person. One small phrase of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed the punishment from his soul. So on the way back, it was fulfilled with mercy and kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I told you guys to wait because I wanted to see and observe how beautiful is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not a matter of, 1 for 1, 2 for 2, the way we think, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, is all merciful. In a way, he's looking for excuses, right? To just gain something from us in order for him to provide us the most that is possible. So this recitation of the Quran is one of the stuff that helps the marhumin and marhumat, especially if we know that they have missed upon a lot of obligatory acts. Now, if the question is specific about the person who was zalim, this zulm, this oppression was towards other people, which we call it haqq al-nas, that's a different story. Because that part we have to go and we have to seek forgiveness, right? If he has borrowed money, he's not return. We have to return the money, or somehow we have to make the person content, right? If he has done something wrong to another person, we have to make sure that we seek their forgiveness for that person. So that's a little bit different, right? Inshallah, that helped, to answer your question.
Ahsan, thank you, Sheikh. So next question is, if the Quran was revealed over a span of 23 years, then why do we say it was sent down in the night of Qadr? Was the whole Quran resent? What is the wisdom here?
That's the very common question and very common topics in which a lot of speakers and scholars, they talk about during the nights of destiny. What's the difference between the different types of revelation of the Quran, right? If I want to give you a very good example, is that I'm sure among all of you, there are those who are teachers, right? So for example, let's say I'm a first grade teacher. Right? So at the beginning of the year, I know what I'm supposed to teach. I have the curriculum, I have the material, and I know all of it, right? I know all of it at once. But do I teach it all at once in the same day? Or do I, break it up into pieces throughout the 1 year span that I have? And I gradually, right, project whatever I know according to the specific session of the day or the week within the educational calendar, right? So the topic of Quran is the very same thing. We say we have this revelation which was all at once during the night of destiny, in which the entire Quran was given to the heart of the Holy Prophet. But this Quran as a whole, right, was expressed to the public throughout the span of 23 years. Did that make sense, or should I explain a little bit more?
I think that was good. Thank you, Sheikh. Then we have some other questions. What is the wisdom in having 2 rakat for Fajr, 4 in Zuhr and Asr, Isha, and only 3 in Maghrib? Why are the differences?
This is actually an interesting question. Why should we, for example, pray 2 rakat in the morning, not instead, for example, 4 rakat? Because personally, when I look at it, right, in the morning, at least people tend to be more motivated, they have more energy, so they can actually offer more, instead of at noontime when usually the temperature goes up and we don't feel like praying, right? But then again, you have to know that not all of the religious acts, right, we know of their true reason. It is something that we assume, right? So the way I look at it is we have the obligatory acts, and at the same time, we have the recommended acts as well. So the morning prayer is 2 rakat, right? But at the same time, we see we have the Salat al-Layl, which is 11 rakats. So when you put this together, you see that you have more of the act of worship in the morning than you have, for example, at noon or the afternoon or even the Maghrib time, right? So this is what how I justify it, right? But perhaps we can do a little research on this one to see whether we have a specific saying, for example, telling us why the morning prayer is only 2 rakat, right? Or why, for example, the Maghrib is only 3 rakat, right? So that one I have to actually look probably the book of, what is the book for, is it Misbah al-Sharia? Kitab perhaps you may be able to find it on the book named Misbah al-Sharia. I have not looked upon it myself.
Thank you, Sheikh. Another question about death. Why is it preferred that we go and visit the dead at the cemetery and recite Quran at their grave when their soul is actually in barzakh? Why is reciting there better than just from reciting at home?
Because there are more benefits when you go actually to the grave than when you recite it at home. At least we, as the people who go, we benefit more. Why? Because when you go to cemetery, automatically you start thinking about the topic of death for yourself, right? So when I enter cemetery, I start assuming myself that, oh, one day I'll be laying in one of these graves, right? So I start thinking about the hereafter for myself. I start financing the self-awareness, right? So recitation of the Quran is going to even help it even more, right? So you're reading the Quran, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in a place in which you know it is the last place of this dunya. So it is that at the verge of the bridge to the hereafter. So it has more impact on you, and inshallah on the soul of the deceased one as well. Why? Because the level of sincerity will actually rise, right? Now, when you're at the cemetery, inshallah, you're not reciting the Quran to show off to other people, right? You're focusing on the sawab or the rewards of recitation of the Quran. So you can see a lot of different benefits can be involved in going out to the cemetery and reciting the Quran. And of course, you have to always consider, like, the general situation. For example, right now with the coronavirus, it may not be as recommended to go out to the cemetery. You just have to see, and you have to sort of do a cons and pros to see which one is actually more beneficial.
Oh, thank you, Sheikh. Maybe we'll go 5 more minutes if that's good with you. There's a lot more questions. We'll try and fit in as many as we can within 5 minutes. There's some fiqh questions. What is the reason of a dog being najis? Can my kids keep hamster as a pet? And what pets are allowed in general?
Okay. So what's the reason of dog being najis? That's, again, it's what we call it is shar'i, right? So we have that in the riwayat, and we have it that one of the animals, right? 2 major, one is pig, one is dog. These are what we call najisul ayn, right? Meaning that their essence is what we call them najis. So basically, anything that touches from them to us, right, will carry that najasa to us, such as, for example, their saliva, such as their sweat. If they're wet, like, and if they, how they shake off the water, right? That water itself becomes najis, right? And there was a second part to the question.
And then what pets in general are we allowed to keep in Islam?
Oh, in terms of the pets, right? So we have some recommendation, and we have something that we say is permissible, right? So basically, whatever that is, what we call it halal meat, right? Those are permissible to keep. But what are recommended, when we look at the traditions, we see that, for example, at the house of the Holy Prophet, there were chickens and roosters, right? To be specific, it's a white rooster and a black chicken, right? Or pigeons. And the pigeons we have, I think, 3 different colors: white, I think one is red, and the other one is between yellow and brownish, if I'm not mistaken, right? So these, what we say is mustahab to have it inside of the house. Inside of the house doesn't mean inside of your room. No, meaning within the yard of the house, because you have to consider that, in the olden days, the houses were not like, this apartment complexes that we have today, right? Pretty much every house had a yard, right? And they had this open space outside. In regards to keeping dog as a pet, we don't have that. We don't have this specific thing in the traditions that we have. Yes, we do have to keep them as, for example, for purposes of farming, or for purposes of like, taking care of sheep, right? So this is allowed. But in terms of bringing him inside of the house, we have, contradictory riwayats, which it says, whichever house a dog enters, the angels will not enter that house, right? So we have to be specific on this regards. Now, I think they were asking about hamster as well. In regards to hamsters, I have not seen anything. Have you seen anything yet? No, my colleague has not seen anything yet regarding keeping the hamster. So I would say this: if you can, go with whatever that we have already been told. Now, for a specific reason, if you say absolutely there is no way, I love this hamster so much and so much and so much that I cannot live one day without him or her, then perhaps you can bring it in, but gradually try to remove that attachment. Because bottom line, you're living or putting up your life for the sake of hamster, right? So let's say if he becomes sick on the Laylatul Qadr, then what are you going to do, right? I'll just leave it there.
Thank you, Sheikh. There's a new question that came in. Is this life a simulation?
Simulation in what regards? Like if you can actually make a simulation of this life for ourselves?
Or I think they probably mean like in the terms of like the Matrix, like the movie The Matrix, where this life like a simulation and not real in the sense.
Not reality.
Yeah.
So everything we see is basically our assumptions, right? And nothing is real. This is very sort of in a way dangerous question, right? Because when we start this path, we reach this conclusion that everything we see, we hear, we touch, we like gain information from, all is part of this mirage, right? All of it is part of this, as we call it, simulation, in which in the background, something else is going on. The movie Matrix has a lot of interesting points, right? And you can, make a comparison with a lot of stuff that is telling us to the teachings that we have in religion, but it's not completely identical to the teachings that we have. Because when we talk about this topic of hereafter, we talk about spirituality, It's not that we say spirituality is disconnected from this world, right? For example, in the movie Matrix, the guys were actually being used like to obtain, I think, some sort of energy, right? At the same time, they were like pushing this images into their mind as if like they're living in this virtual lifestyle. When we talk about religion, no, we say from the very same reality is what we gain the spirituality, right? Actually, to be true, the spirituality is what forms the reality that we have, right? In the sense that everything we see in this world, right? Everything, including ourselves and all of our belongings, right? All of those has a source. Where is that source? It is at the realm of Barzakh, realm of Qiyamah, go all the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So everything sort of bestows and gets manifested in this realm. It's not that they're completely disconnected, right? And have no connections with one another, like in any sense, right? So whatever we see around us, no, it is real, it is there, right? But all we have to do as a believer is to go beyond its surface and find its true reality. And that true reality is a connection to Allah subhanahu
Thank you so much, Shaikh Ehsan, for the question and answer session. Inshallah, we'll be transitioning to the almost the last part of the program, which consists of the recitation of Ziyarat Aminullah, performed by Hujjatul Islam Sayyid Mohsen Musavi Najad. Sorry, Musavi Zadeh.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام. والله, tonight we will recite Ziyara Min Allah by niyyah and intention of ourselves, of all of our family members, all of our friends, and everybody has requested dua in this special night. Don't forget your parents. In this special moment that you want to recite ziyarah, Quran, dua, supplication, pay attention about your parents, because this is one of the important rights that they have upon us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya min Allah fi ardah wa hujjatahu ala ibadah. Assalamu alayka ya Ali ibn Musarrad al-Murtada. Imam Reza said, if you visit me once, I will visit you 3 occasions, 3 times. That all of us, we are full of need of Ahl al-Bayt in resurrection. So if you are not in a shrine, I know all of you likes to be here and visit the shrine and have ziyarah near the Zari. But you can close your physical eyes, open your spiritual eyes. Imagine right now you're sitting in courtyard and looking at the Zahrā. Assalamu alayka ya Ali ya Musa al-Murtada. أشهد أنك جاهدت في الله حق جهاده وعملت بكتابه واتبعت سنن نبيه صلى الله عليه وآله حتى دعاك الله إلى جواره وقبضك إليه باختياره والزم عداك الحجة مع مالك من الحجج البالغة على جميع خلقه. This supplication is one of the most authentic ziyarah and supplication that we have in Shia. So when you're reciting the supplication, pay attention to every phrase, every sentences, every words, the meaning that you are reciting. اللهم فاجعل نفسي مطمئنة بقدرك راضية بقضائك مولعة بذكرك ودعائك محبة لسفمة أوليائك محبوبة في أرضك وسمائك صابرة على نزول بلائك شاكرة لفضائل نعمائك ذاكرة لثواب غالائك مشتاقة إلى فرحة لقائك متزودة التقوى ليوم جزائك مستنة بسنن أوليائك مفارقة لأخلاق أعدائك مشغولة على الدنيا بحمدك وثنائك. Wallah, help me to don't be separated and far away from your zikr, thanksgiving. And help me, oh Allah, I want to be steadfast in your path. اللهم إن قلوب المخبتين إليك والآن وسبل الراغبين إليك شارعا وعلام القاصدين إليك وازحا وأفئدة العارفين منك فازعا وأصوات الداعين إليك صاعدا وأبواب الإجابة لهم مفتحا ودعوة من ناجاك مستجابا وتوبة من أناب إليك مقبولا وعورة من بكى من خوفك مرحوما والإغاثة لمن استغاث بك موجودا والإعانة لمن استعان بك مبذولا وعداتك لعبادك منجزها وزلل من استقالك مقالا وعمال العاملين لديك محفوظا ورزاقك للخلاق من لدنك نازلا وعضاد المزيد إليهم واصلا والذنوب المستغفرين مغفورا وحوائج خلقك عندك مقضيا وجوائز السائلين عندك موفرا وعوائد المزيد متواترا ومواهد المستدعمين معدة ومناهل الظماء مترغى اللهم فاستجب دعائي واقبل ثنائي واجمع بيني وبين أوليائي وحتى محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين إنك ولي الأعماء ومنتهى مناي وغاية رجائي في منقلبي ومثواي أنت إلهي وسيدي ومولاي اغفر لأوليانا وكف عنا أعدانا واشغلهم عن أذانا وازهر كلمة الحق واجعلها العليا وأنس كلمة الباطل واجعلها السفلى إنك على كل شيء قدير اللهم إني أسألك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأفضل الأجل الأكرم بدماء شهدانا يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والله hasten the return of our Imam والله save us in the way of Ahl al-Bayt والله make my faith strong والله don't leave me alone because if you leave me I will be the servant of Satan. Oh Allah, help me. Oh Allah, help all of the friends and Shia community around the world. Oh Allah, forgive all of my sins. Oh Allah, grant all the believers their needs. Oh Allah, guide us to the right Imam our time. Oh Allah, help us to become true followers of Ahl al-Bayt. Oh Allah, forgive me all the wrongs. Oh Allah, bring me closer to your Ahl al-Bayt by the blessing of recitation salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Thank you so much, Sayyid, for the beautiful recitation and giving us the ability to connect with Imam Reza from such a far distance. Greatly appreciate it. To move on to the last section of the program, I would like to introduce our dear beloved brother Mohsen for performing in a Noha for us, and then followed by him will be his son Abul Hassan, and inshallah brother Hassan. Thank you so much for your time.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is a two-part, a short poem, which I will do it tahtul lafz, not in full, and 4 lines afterwards. These are ashar, these are verses of a poetry, Fadail of Imam Ali and Masail. So this is actually in Urdu, but I will try my best to translate it in English as quickly as possible, because when you translate anything, you actually have the body, but you lose the soul. So inshallah, I'll try to do it, yes, as soon as possible. Sallu ala nabi, bismillah. जाएं खुदा के दर पे तो मिलते अली से हैं, जाएं खुदा के दर पे तो मिलते अली से हैं, जाएं नबी के दर पे तो मिलते अली से हैं। ये पूछें नबी से माजरा, वो शहर इल्म है, पूछें नबी से दर पे तो मिलते अली से हैं। फरमाने रब हक तो कौले रसूल हक, हक को वही तो समझे जो मिलते अली से है। तामील हुक्म रब हो, हुक्म रसूल हो, तामील की लगन है जो मिलते अली से है। कुरान सबका एक है, उम्मत गवाह है। कुरान सबका एक है, उम्मत गवाह है। कुरान को वो समझे जो मिलते अली से है। दावत से जुल अशीरा की मैदान खुम तक, दावत से जुल अशीरा की मैदान खुम तक, फरमाने रब वो समझे जो मिलते अली से है। ये दुनिया सवारने जो वो दुनिया सवारने, जो दोनों सवारने वो मिलते अली से है। Now 4 lines inshallah on इमाम अली। थी जो ज़ात रब से चली रब तक गई, ताहयात रब से चली रब तक गई। फुस्तो व रब्बुल काबा की सदा जब आई, काबे से चली थी जो बात काबे तक गई। Inshallah, the translation: when you go to God, you meet Imam Ali alayhi salam. When you go to Prophet, you meet Imam Ali alayhi salam. How is it possible? What is going on? So ask the Prophet, because he's the city of knowledge. But when you go to city of knowledge, at the door you meet Imam Ali alayhi salam again. Because Prophet says, Ana madinatul ilm wa Ali al-Zahrā. Words of God is truth, and the words of Prophet truth. But those who meet with Ali, Imam Ali alayhi salam, know and understand the truth. We need to follow the command of God or the orders of the Prophet. In pursuit of following God and Prophet, we meet Ali alayhi salam. The Quran is the same for everyone. Ummah is the witness, but those who meet Ali, Imam Ali alayhi salam, understand the Quran. From the invitation of Zul Ashira to Ghadir Khum, the command of God is understood by those who meet Ali alayhi salam. Improve your dunya and improve your akhirah. Those who meet Imam Ali improve both dunya and akhirah. And the last translation of last few 4 lines. The one, this is about Imam Ali, and this is a bit poetic. The one who begins his life from God went back to God. His whole life he traveled from God to God. When the voice of Pusto wa Rabbul Kaaba was heard from the mosque of Kufa, the narrative that began with Kaaba approached Kaaba again. Now, inshallah, Abu Hassan will recite a few lines.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. अली के चाहने वाले अकीदा खास रखते हैं। अली के चाहने वाले अकीदा खास रखते हैं। खुदा के सामने 12 वसीला खास रखते हैं। अलम को चूम कर ना दे अली लब पर सजाते हैं। अलम को चूम कर ना दे अली लब पर सजाते हैं। हिसारे रंजो गम में हम वजीफा खास रखते हैं। किसी का पीर है कोई, किसी का पीर कोई है। किसी का पीर है कोई, किसी का पीर कोई है। किसी का हो कोई, लेकिन हम अपने खास रखते हैं। कोई दौलत, कोई शोहरत, कोई जन्नत, कोई दौलत कोई शोहरत कोई जन्नत का ख्वाहां है कोई दौलत कोई शोहरत कोई जन्नत का ख्वाहां है मगर जो भी हुसैनी है तमन्ना खास रखते हैं मगर जो भी हुसैनी है तमन्ना खास रखते हैं अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व अला
next program. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sallallahu alayhi ya Amir al-Mu'minin. شب بود و اشک بود و علی بود و چاه بود فریاد بی صدا غم دل بود و آه بود دیگر پس از شهادت زهرا به چشم او صبح سفید همچو دل شب سیاه بود دانی چرا جبین علی را شکافتند زیرا به چشم کوفه عدالت گناه بود خونش نصیب دامن محراب کوفه شد آن رهپری که کعبه بر او زادگاه بود یک عمر از رعیت خود هم ستم کشید اشک شبش به غربت روزش گواه بود دستش برای مردم دنیا نمک نداشت عدلش به چشم بینگهان اشتباه بود هم صحبتی نداشت که در نیمه های شب حرفش به چاه بود و نگاهش به ماه بود مولا پس از شهادت زهرا غریب شد مولا پس از شهادت زهرا غریب شد زهرا نه یار او که بر او یک سپاه بود وقتی که از محاسن او می چکید خون عباس را به صورت بابا نگاه بود میسم هزار حیف که پوشیده شد ز خون رویی که بهر گمشدگان شمع راه بود السلام علیک یا مظهر العجائب ولی الله العظم اسد الله غالب قصه دارم از برایت مولا دیدگانم خاک پایت مولا جان عالم به فدایت مولا یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر تو مظهر عدالت الگوی متقینی تا به صبح قیامت امیر المؤمنینی خوش به حال آن که یارت باشد در ره عشق بیقرارت باشد پیش دشمن ذوالفقارت باشد یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر شمشیر ابن ملجم بر فرق تو نشسته در بهشت الهی زهرا شد سرشکسته در عزایت ای ولی خدا زینب تو گشت صاحب عزا ناله او شده یا ابتا یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر سکوت پر صدایت از فریاد مدینه شد با شهادت تو زنده یاد مدینه شیر خیبر ای دلاور حیدر روز خانم بر تو ای غم پرورد کشته گشتی تو به پشت آن یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر یا مولانا یا حیدر در این شب‌های پرنور با عشق و شور و احساس سر شکسته گفتم افتادم یاد عباس القمه شد دست سقا جدا و سر او شد مه نیزه ها رفت دشمن به سوی خیمه ها مولانا یا ابوالفضل مولانا یا ابوالفضل مولانا یا ابوالفضل مولانا یا ابوالفضل. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time. Please remember all of us in your du'as, and then inshallah I'll pass to Brother Hussein. Please recite the last salawat.
Thank you, Brother Hessam. This about concludes our program for tonight. Like Brother Hessam mentioned, thank you for tuning in and partaking. Inshallah was beneficial for you. Just a quick reminder, if you would like to obtain notification of the next program, then all you simply have to do is to subscribe to the Al-Mahdi YouTube channel. You can do so by when you go to the page, you'll see a subscription button. If you click that, you'll see a bell symbol come up and you select all, then you will get a notification when the next program is, which is tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. MST, which will be the second night of Qadr. The other thing we would like to inform you about is we sincerely and greatly thank the brothers from Mashhad that are helping us to arrange this program. We could not have done it without them. And majority of us probably don't know about the content that they're creating, and it's very fabulous. They actually have Quran Tajweed and Tafsir, and even some courses on Islamic family structure. And all of them are mini-series, very short, and they're all in English, and they can be found on their YouTube channel called Imam Reza Shrine. So please visit that and subscribe to that as well, so you can take benefit of it, because they're making really good quality content. Without further ado, inshallah, let's close the program with a small dua, and inshallah, we'll see you again tomorrow night. So, oh Allah, by the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen, make us amongst his true followers. O Allah, let us exemplify the true meaning of the word Shia. O Allah, make our material and spiritual contact following the example of Amir al-Mu'mineen. O Allah, make easy the problems of our ummah. O Allah, preserve and unify our hearts. Wassalam, inshallah. Have a good night and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.